Hey guys, Suika here, and today I'm actually here to celebrate a bit of a milestone. I actually hit 100 subscribers today, which, is that a big number? To some people, probably not, but you know what? I've worked for 3 years to get to this point, so I'm gonna celebrate it. It's been 3 years? Oh my god, it has been almost 3 years. Anyways, so I figured that for this, since it's sort of a special occasion, I'd do something a little bit different for once. I'm usually just post singing videos, but you know what? Today I'm going to do something a little bit outside of the norm for me. So I'm just putting it off because I don't want to do it. So basically, a lot of you, well, people who follow me on Twitter might know that before I got involved in this scene, I guess, and like took on the Suika Shoujo name, I was involved in the Yugioh fandom, and I wrote a number of fanfiction about some of the characters, and it's not the proudest moment of my life. It's not something I'd put on a resume. It's not something I'd tell most people outside of the internet, but it's still up there and out there for the world to see, so there's no point in hiding it now. And today I'm going to read a couple chapters from the most successful fic that I ever released. Let me get this open here. It was open a minute ago. What the hell? I'm recording this all in one take, and I'm not editing out any mistakes or anything like that. So you're just going to have to bear with me on some of this stuff. All right, here it is. I got it. Let's go. This is called Evil Movie of Doom. It's a Yu-Gi-Oh fan fiction about about Bakura and Dark Bakura. Regular Bakura is just called Ryo here because I was a fucking weeb and everyone just called him Ryo, and that's how the fandom worked. Just roll with it, okay? You don't really need to know anything about the series to, I don't want to say appreciate this, because I don't even appreciate this. I don't think, well, apparently someone appreciated it. This was actually the most popular fic I ever published. This has 210 reviews on ff.net, which I weep for humanity. This was first posted June 30th, 2010, so about 7 years ago. So it's been long enough that I can look at it and pretend like maybe I didn't write it. I did. All right, without further ado, Evil Movie of Doom, Chapter 1, Eclipse. I'm going to start with the author's note. Okay, for pretty much the past 6 months, my sister has constantly been talking about seeing the new Twilight movie. So in mock celebration of the release of Eclipse, I wrote this. I don't own Yu-Gi-Oh! Aww. Or Twilight. Good, I don't want it. Ryo stared at the TV screen. I have to get tickets, he said to himself before running to the computer where Bakura was reading a list of 1 million ways to kill annoying pharaohs. Ryo looked up at him with his best puppy dog eyes. Kura, will you do something for me? Shut up, Ryo, I'm busy. But not even he could resist the evil puppy dog eyes of doom, so called by Merrick. So he sighed. What do you want? Will you get tickets for the midnight showing of Eclipse? Bakura stared at his light blankly. What the hell is that? Ryo gasped. You haven't heard of it? Commercials have been everywhere. Don't you watch TV? You haven't let me ever since the incident with Hannah Montana, he reminded Hisakari. Remember, this was 2010. Ryo shuddered at the memory. Well, it's a new movie that comes out tonight at midnight. Bakura stared at him skeptically. What's it about? Ryo swallowed. He would have to choose his words carefully. He knew that Bakura would definitely say no if he knew that it was a romance. It's, about vampires and werewolves. The Yami's eyes lit up. Wow, really? Vampires, huh? Ryo, I had no idea you were into that kind of stuff. Ryo laughed nervously. So you'll go? It's about vampires. How bad could it possibly be? Well, it can't possibly be any worse than this fic. Scene shifts here. Ryo and Bakura decided to head to a theater around 11:30. Ryo was wearing a Team Jacob shirt that he had gotten online some time back but had never worn. There are a lot more girls here than I expected, Bakura commented. It was true. Most of the huge crowd was female. Ryo decided quickly not to respond to that comment. People started flooding into the dark theater around 11:55. The two boys went to their usual spot in the back of the theater. They're gonna fuck. That would make this too much more interesting. As they sat through the long and tedious preview, teenage girls chattered excitedly all around them. But when the logo appeared, there was a hushed silence across the room. But it didn't stay quiet for long. Every girl in the theater cheered loudly every time one of the guys took off their shirt. One girl rode down from them, nearly fainted with excitement, while the girl next to them blushed furiously. But Ryo just leaned forward with wide eyes, completely absorbed in the movie. Bakura was also wide-eyed, although for a very different reason, because Ryo's grabbing his dick. If only. The movie did have vampires and werewolves like his Hikari had promised, but it was far from being a horror movie. No, this was a romance. Ryo had taken him to see a romance. Bakura had to try very hard to restrain himself from reaching over and strangling him. Finally, after what felt to Bakura like years of torture, the end credits rolled and the pair headed back outside to their car. Bakura waited for both doors to be shut before turning to Ryo, rage flashing through all of his features. What the hell was that? He growled. Ryo put his hands in the air defensively. I told you it would have vampires in it, but I never said it would be a horror movie. Ryo, you fucking troll. Oh my god. Besides, I thought it was good. In what way were those creatures vampires? And that Bella chick, she's a slut with no personality whatsoever. She makes Anzu look deep. Anzu! And speaking of which, I'm pretty sure I saw her there. That was clearly me just going off on a rant about how much I hate Twilight. Damn it. Why did I do this to myself? So she's a bit indecisive. How does that make her a slut? Oh, Edward, I love you, but I love Jacob too. I wish I could just have sex with both of you. But Edward, make me a vampire. Then you won't kill me. But I don't want to get married. Just have sex all day long, Bakura said, making his voice high-pitched to try and imitate the main heroine. Ryo sighed. He knew deep down that it was a bad idea taking Bakura to this particular movie, but he was already getting sick of hearing him rant. But he continued on, as does this fic, unfortunately. But seriously, those things were not vampires. Real vampires kill. Those half-assed villains that wanted to kill Bella for no reason whatsoever, although I wanted to too, were the best part of the movie, and they barely got any screen time. At least it had action, Bakura, Ryo muttered under his breath. More than the other ones. Bakura's eyes widened in disbelief. There's more of this atrocity. Ryo nodded. I have the first 2 DVDs. The special editions, actually. Oh, and all of the books, and t-shirts, buttons, bags. Ryo continued on for the rest of the car ride to ramble on about all of the Twilight merchandise he had collected. When he finally finished as he pulled into the driveway, Bakura facepalmed. Just like I'm doing right now. My Hikari is a fangirl. Oh, that's so funny. Get it? It's because he's acting like a teenage girl during the Twilight years. Oh my god, this is the funniest thing I've ever read in my entire life. I was wrong. This isn't cringe at all. This is the greatest thing I've ever written that's ever been written in my entire life, in anyone's life, in the entirety of mankind. Jesus Christ. Author's note. That was really fun to write. Bakura. I don't want to see that movie. Seriously. Me. Neither do I. My opinion is closer to yours, really. Bakura. Think raw. Get it? Because it's Yu-Gi-Oh! Get it? Because Egyptian gods. Ha 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 ha. Reviews? Yes. Reviews? Please don't review this. Please don't come find this fic. Oh my god. Alright, I'm going to do one more chapter because that was kind of on the short side. And because apparently I'm just a huge glutton for punishment. And this chapter's... I don't know whether to say it's better or worse. There's nowhere to go from rock bottom. Okay. Author's note. Well, I just saw Eclipse, and guess what? It was just as bad as I thought it would be. So, since so many people seem to enjoy the last chapter, and because I'm suffering from writer's block, I'm going to do more. Oh, thank the Lord. The body was struggling against his captor, trying to no avail to burst free from the ropes that were binding him. "No," he pleaded, while the others simply returned with a laugh. He leaned in closer. "Trust me, you will learn to enjoy it." "No, I already had to see Eclipse. I don't want to watch the other two," Bakura begged. Ryo smiled, doing his best to look innocent. "But don't you want to know how the two of them met? It's really interesting." "If there are two people I don't want to know about, it's them. Trust me, Ryo, this is a bad idea." "If you don't watch it, I'll tell Yami about your little secret from the Christmas party." What the fuck? Bakura looked truly terrified now. "You wouldn't dare," he finally whispered. "Trust me, I would." "Fine," grumbled the Yami. Ryo pressed the play button and Bakura's personal torture began. I had never given much thought as to how I would die. "If it's up to me, it won't come swiftly," Bakura mumbled. Ryo shot at him a warning glance which quickly shut him up. He managed to stay quiet right up until the part where Bella finds out the truth about Edward. "Say it out loud." "Vampire." "What the hell?" Bakura screamed. "Yeah, me too, Bakura," preparing an innocent pillow to be thrown at the poor TV. "You are not a fucking vampire. You're a pansy. Do I have to tie you up again?" That sounded wrong. Are they like 13-year-old? I was going to say, are they 13-year-old boys, but I was 13 when I wrote this. So, yeah, you know what? That actually makes sense. Ryo's death stare once again managed to quiet his complaints. Even though Ryo had seen this movie several times before, doing his best to keep it from Bakura, he was still just as absorbed in it as he had been seeing Eclipse for the first time. It really wasn't helping with Bakura's image of Hisakari. The only part where Bakura showed even a bit of interest was during the action sequences toward the end. But even then, he had some complaints. "Okay, this has to be the worst camera work I've ever seen. The fact that they're moving super fast is no excuse to be jerking the camera around. Somebody actually attacked her. You, my friend, are my new favorite character. She lives from having her blood sucked." Who the hell came up with this? At last, the credits rolled. Bakura let out a sigh of relief. That was terrible. I didn't think anything could be worse than Eclipse, but I was wrong. There is something worse than Eclipse. This fic. I think that actually killed a few brain cells. So does this. Ryo went over to the DVD player and removed the disc. Just then, there was a knock at the door. Bakura got up to go answer it. Oh, Jesus. When he opened the door, Merrick was standing there wearing a Team Edward shirt. Bakura regretted opening the door. "Hi! Ryo told me you were about to watch New Moon. Can I join?" Merrick sounded like a little kid. Bakura decided he had no choice but to let him in. He didn't want to listen to Ryo about being rude to guests for the 100th. He'd been counting time. But when he let him into the living room, Ryo let out a low growl. "You let the enemy in." Bakura looked puzzled. "What?" "He's Team Edward. Everyone knows that Jacob is the only one for Bella. Obviously not Stephanie Meyer," Merrick retorted. Bakura pushed the two Hikaris away from each other. "Ryo, if you didn't want him to come, why did you tell him we were watching it?" Ryo wasn't sure how to answer this, because I apparently wasn't sure how to answer this. So the two just continued their argument. Bakura sighed. "Great, this should be fun." Another author's note. Me. "Next up is New Moon, everybody." Ryo. "Yays!" Yays! That one is my favorite. Me. "Why?" Ryo. "It has lots of Jacob." Little dumb 2010 emoticon. Ryoi. Typo. "I'm going to take this opportunity to stage an intervention." Ryo. "Can't hear anything over the sound of him being a fangirl." Me. Review. All energy from reviewers will be used to save Ryo from his cruel, cruel fate. And you know what? There are 12 more chapters of this. We're not going through those because I'm already at about 15 minutes and I do not have the willpower to power through any more of this. So yeah, if you actually stuck through and listened to this whole thing, congratulations, and thanks again for 100 subscribers. Hopefully I'll never post a video this shitty ever again. Alright, so this is Suika Shoujo signing off.